All right. Final update of the day. Now, again, I want to thank everybody for all the support this week. I found myself in a situation that I just couldn't ignore. And before I even had to put out a response, you guys really rocked for me and really rode for me. And I thank everybody, all of you guys. Some of you I didn't know at all. I didn't even know a lot of you were even watching my stuff. And right there, you guys came to bat. So I really appreciate this. I want to let you guys know that me and Matt talked. I talked to Matt, What's the Dirt, on Sunday. We had a really good conversation, I would say, and I'm happy with where we are. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think he would say the same thing. So I'm going to leave this situation behind. I'm good with where we are, so that should be enough. But there's a couple of things here that I do want to clarify. One, there's this narrative that this is about Kendrick and Drake, as if this was a coordinated attack on Matt. He knows this, and I know this. This has nothing to do with Kendrick and Drake. This is literally a situation that took place because I was publicly disrespected in a very disgusting way, and that is what happened. So this isn't about Kendrick or Drake, regardless of how it is a convenient situation that happened, arguably a byproduct of the Kendrick and Drake beef, right? I mean, without this beef, I'm not sure most of us know What's the Dirt. And truthfully, without this beef, I don't think my channel would have been introduced to so many new people just from the algorithm, right? So it is a byproduct, but it's not about that, right? This went way past that, which is why this happened. Two, there's a discussion of objectivity that is way bigger than anything that's happening in hip hop. Way bigger than what's happening in hip hop, right? We've got politicians saying Haitians are eating cats in Ohio right now. Okay, objectivity. What this means is much bigger than this, but it is part of this conversation that I've noticed this week. And people are, calling me a biased journalist. Well, on the music side, 100%, I am. If you're asking me if I prefer Kendrick's music over Drake's music, the answer is yes. If you're asking me if I support Kendrick or over Drake, yeah, I definitely support Kendrick before I support Drake. If you're asking me if I think Kendrick has an impact on music, art, and culture that I would like to see more of than the impact that Drake has had on music, art, and culture, yeah, 100%. Everything on the creative side, I am 100% very upfront about my support of Kendrick Lamar. I made a Kendrick Lamar GOAT piece in 2016. In 2016, it was one of the biggest pieces, if not the biggest breakdown we ever did at the time at Hip Hop DX. All right, so yeah, how I feel about Kendrick and Drake is well documented over a lot of years. I also made How to Beat Drake in a Rap Beef, right? So I don't think there's any question there. But I do, if you're calling me biased in terms of Kendrick, from that standpoint, you're 100% correct. 100% correct. Now, where I am objective and how I look at objective, one of the things I said in my video was that there is this idea that objectivity is covering two separate things the same way, even though they're different. And when it comes to this battle, I remain objective on the allegations. And here's how I look at, this is what I mean by covering them objectively. On this channel, I've only covered two allegations, right? I covered Ebony Prince, Drake, Ebony Prince, Mark Hotel, and Christopher Alvarez. Right, and I chose to cover that story because Christopher Alvarez, the journalist for the Brooklyn Eagle, was a part of that story, and he wrote a story that was published in the Brooklyn Eagle, a 100-year-old newspaper. So I covered that story, Christopher Alvarez's story in the Brooklyn Eagle that had to do with Drake and the Mark Hotel, right? So what Christopher Alvarez reported is what I talked about. I covered Drake and the Weird Kick Streamer with XO Snow, who was in the documentary To Catch a Kick Predator 2, for what was being described as nefarious behavior on the Monkey app. And I chose to cover that because Drake is in the video. He is in the video with her. Okay? He is in the video with her. I was very careful not to say it's one thing or another, but I decided to cover it because he's in the video. I'm like, if the person's in the video, yeah, I'm going to cover it. But after that, academics on his stream said that Drake told him that he was told to do that by Kick since she was being promoted by Kick, and Drake has a sponsorship, has a partnership with Kick. Okay, so once academics reported that he only did that because this company told him to do that, I reported that too, right? There is a whole bunch of other allegations over there where people are trying to figure things out. The alleged daughter, for example, the alleged baby moms doing stuff, for example, a bunch of stuff with documents and companies, whatever, all that stuff over there. I do not cover that, any of that stuff, and I won't cover that stuff because it hasn't been verified by a reputable publication, or Drake hasn't shown a connection to those things. It's just not enough there, right? And I do the same thing with Kendrick. The only difference between Kendrick and Drake is Kendrick doesn't show up in the newspaper with his allegations. Kendrick doesn't have videos of him, in this case, I guess for his allegations, assaulting anybody, including Whitney. So I can't cover those things the same way. I can't cover those things like I covered the allegations I covered for Drake's, because those things don't exist when it comes to Kendrick in terms of those allegations, or at least haven't been made public, right? Now, there's a situation that, people have been talking about that took place at the Hard Rock Hotel, allegedly took place at the Hard Rock Hotel in 2013. And a security guard said that Kendrick assaulted somebody on Labor Day. Now, The Ville has done a story on this saying that actually Kendrick didn't perform on Labor Day. He performed on May 3rd. Moni, Chillin' with Moni, big shout out to Chillin' with Moni too, by the way. Big shout out to Chillin' with Moni. She is such a great, kind soul, and she is a very, very good YouTuber. She has a channel that's growing. It's a small channel, but it's on its way. I think I've watched it double in the past month, to be honest, so she is moving quickly. But big shout out to Chillin' with Moni. Chillin' with Moni has covered this, and so has Matt from What's the Dirt. Okay, now they all have different kind of stories or different hypothesis of what's happened, right? And I'm sure there's other people who are looking into all of these things. But my point is, none of that has been confirmed, so I haven't covered that. And not to mention, that is actually 10 years old, however many years old. The Mark Hotel with Drake is really old too, but it became new when Christopher Alvarez published a story this year. So my point is, I objectively don't cover any allegations that aren't verified or validated by either a story that has been confirmed or by the artists themselves or the artists being included in the videos. Right? That's where I remain objective. And it extends past this battle. I'm not covering all the nuances of the Young Thug trial. I'm not covering all the nuances before, what happened with Diddy before he went into custody. I wasn't covering all the rumors and nuances that were happening around that. Legal cases, I leave to legal scholars, I leave to lawyers, and I leave to court reporters, because I personally am not in a position to contextualize what's happening with those things properly. I personally am not in a position to contextualize those things properly. And I recognize that. One, I don't want to get sued for misinformation. Two, I like to add value to my conversations. And if I tried to figure my way in and out of these situations that I truthfully I don't know the nuances of, I'm not adding real value to you guys. I'm just not. So that conversation around objectivity is much bigger than just what's happening in hip hop or this situation with me and Matt. But that's how I look at that, right? Now, on a larger scale, I think it's really ironic that I ran a story this week on David Banner, who did an interview with Trent Clark at TMZ Hip Hop. And David Banner, in that interview, said, we have to defend hip hop. If you've grown up with hip hop and you're a professional, it's time to defend hip hop. And I firmly believe that. I firmly believe it's time to defend hip hop. It's our responsibility to do so. We are the generation that grew up with it. We are the ones that have the best perspective. We literally are the generations that are in the best position to contextualize hip hop properly. And I think we need to do that. I think it's time to do that. And one of the things that I do on my channel is not only just break things down, not only just interview artists, not only just, cover the news in different ways, but I also do my best to provide perspective through the lens of hip hop. The mission of this channel is life through the lens of hip hop. It's all happening, which is why I've opened the range of things that I'm covering, because it's all happening. Because it's life through the lens of hip hop, because that's our generation. Hip hop is, millennials and Gen Xers, we don't remember, at least millennials definitely, we don't remember a time when there wasn't hip hop. We don't remember the time when there's no video games. So there's a connection we have to these things, whether or not we like them. You can hate hip hop and you still know West Philadelphia, born and raised. You can hate hip hop and you can hate video games, you still know Super Mario is. And so the things that we love about the culture that are ingrained in us through our lives, we're the generation that's best positioned to contextualize it properly. And I think those of us with a voice and with a platform, we have a responsibility to share our perspective on these things. And do so respectfully and professionally, because our voices matter too. Everybody's voice matters. And Dapper Dan is pointing out a shift in the D1 conversation, which took place the same day as the Matt stuff was going down. So that was a blessing in its own. That really helped frame, my spirit. I needed that conversation, D. Thank you for coming through. But that D1 conversation, he's talking about a shift. We're seeing a shift on the charts. We're seeing a shift in the industry. And it is our responsibility to lean into that, in my opinion. Now, we all have choices. We all have things we care about. But no one's going to question my connection to hip-hop. No one's going to question who I am as a person. No one's going to sit in a screen and tell me who I am and how I grew up and where I'm from and what my family's like. And no one's going to question my blackness. And I think this situation is a great learning experience for people who would like to get into this space and add something of value to this culture. This is a great example of people having the opportunity, getting the opportunity to understand really how slippery this slope is. Shout out to my man FD. He says the cookout is closed. At best you could get a plate. I'm a very open-minded, gracious person. I think that people who add value to this space, they're always welcome. They continue to be. But I don't think anybody, whether this is on an individual level, a cultural level, or organizational level, corporate level, no one has the right to disrespect people in disgusting ways and expect to get away with it. So thank you guys again for all the support. And, sincerely, it really is our responsibility. It really is up to us. We are the ones that are in the best position to contextualize this culture, and it's up to us to defend it. My name is Justin Hunt. Like, subscribe to the channel, follow @TheCompanyMan on everything. It's all happening.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views us radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dapping it. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, y'all, you don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.